Coming up on the Call the Midwife after show, we have Trixie searing some citrus. Timothy is smitten by a Hungarian kitten, and it's the debut of Sister Winifred's suckling sock puppets. All that and more in just a minute.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
And welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Call the Midwife after show. This is Series 7.
Series 7. Series season 7.
Episode 2. Thank you for. I could get the intro, but I couldn't get that. Thank you very much. I'm John, coming forward, joined in the studio by Tamara Bird.
Hi, everybody.
And Courtney Stewart.
Hello, guys.
Oh, yes. Well, it's back. We had a great time watching the show. I didn't mention the main storyline of this particular episode, but I wanted to jump right into it because we have Lucy on her first outing.
Yes.
Yes, she filled in last week, but this time she's out there on her own and she gets to visit the Stanton Shivers conglomeration.
Salon.
Yes, exactly. She's at the
Right.
salon. That's right. That's what I forgot. I wanted to talk about how I thought it was great having it at the salon. We have all the yentas, the gossipers.
Sure.
And
Gossiping
yes, exactly.
Yeah, in lieu of a town square, we have
Yes.
a beauty salon.
And all the discussion that entails. And of course, when Lucy shows up, May, who's the
Proprietress.
yes, and
Yes.
the mother of Marjorie, who's the pregnant woman, and she's not too thrilled, I guess. What's the phrase she used? Fresh off the boat.
You'll look
Just
just off the
off the
boat
boat.
if we don't get those curlers out of your hair now.
Oh, nice. Okay, great. How warm and welcoming that is.
Yes.
So sweet.
Sweet and kind.
And the moment she says
thoughtful.
it, Lucy walks in and the whole place is like,
Yeah.
needle rip. Yeah.
Embarrassing.
But interesting to note that Marjorie doesn't have this at all. She doesn't. It could be just she's in the throes of labor, but she doesn't have any vestige of this. In fact, what does it she say?
She talks about her mom. She's just
Yeah.
a bit of a cow to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we're clear about
Yes,
everything.
and she is. So,
Yes, she is.
Definitely a cow.
But well. Anything else?
Continues to perpetuate her cowness.
Oh my gosh,
most of the
no kidding,
episode.
right?
So we'll call her Mrs. Heifer. But of course, Marjorie, while she's in there working, and for the 9 months, and we even get to hear that if mom had her way, she'd be working there, and barely even stopping to give birth. But she goes right into labor pains right then, and of course, because Val it's not really what is it, her day off? I guess it's her day off. Or she said
maybe?
something about working on nights. But the point is that we bring Lucy in. And when Lucy gets there, Marjorie's in the throes of labor, and
Even though she's complaining, my mom's not going to let me off for a day.
yeah, exactly. And what I loved about this is that this is the first time I think we've ever had a delivery without seeing it on camera.
Yes.
So
Right.
she goes to the birth, and I'm thinking, okay, how's this one going to be different? And the different part is we don't get to see any of it.
We just have a baby.
Yeah, we just have a baby, and I say,
And it's a
okay,
boy.
It's a boy.
So it was a textbook pregnancy and a
Just
delivery
kidding.
not worth watching, which means it's all going to go to heck any
It's
second
all gonna go to
now.
heck, and especially because the new little brown girl is the one that delivered the baby.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep,
how
right.
is this gonna go down?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yep. Oh man. But it was great too. Before they left went to another storyline. I liked that the little tableau. They had Dennis. He was the husband and father and child. He
Yes.
comes in there. Everything's right. Everything's perfect. And the next time they come back, Lucy's taking her blood pressure, Marjorie's blood pressure, and Marjorie's talking all about everything's fine, and the poor baby kept me up all night. She's feeding like crazy. I could fill in for a dairy, and there's the flowers there from Dennis. And then,
beautiful.
Then
Strokes out.
the brain strokes out. Exactly.
Blood clot
Strokes out.
in the brain.
And again, this one came completely out of surprise for me anyway. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys were thinking. I knew we knew something was going to come.
Oh,
but it
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
And I thought the preeclampsia thing was, we've
Yeah.
seen that
Sure.
a couple times. But Lucy figures it out, and I thought the way I don't know if they did any CG on the
Her on her
actress.
lip,
it's like,
to
what?
get
Right.
that lip hanging.
Yeah, I mean they
and-
definitely had something.
she had
Something
something
like that.
inside her
But
mouth. They
the-
must have had like a hook
or something. It looked
apparatus that pulled her
really
mouth out.
crazy.
But it was bad.
Nasty.
That was
Yeah, it was good. It was good, right? It was very well done. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Very believable.
man. Yeah, exactly.
Very real.
It was, yeah, completely.
Yes.
And of course the ambulance comes, and of course
Oh,
May.
wait, and she did the test, the "Can you smile for me?"
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
test. So
That's,
that's one of the ways that you know, because half of the face doesn't go
do
up.
you want to expound upon that? About
No.
how he's done? Because I don't know the
All the
test.
details
No,
of the
it's
strokes.
Oh gosh, don't
Okay.
ask me. But there's an acronym, and
Oh,
there
there
are
is, 'cause
benchmarks.
it's like a whole
exactly.
art.
There's
Yeah,
an
I
acronym
remember
of
that.
tests, and so
Smart or something like that.
I think that. I don't know.
Okay, we're
Anyway,
gonna get killed.
I'm sure
We're
somebody
not
will
gonna
tell
know
us.
when somebody's
So,
having a
yeah,
stroke.
you don't want us around if that's gonna happen.
We can't help.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
almost kicked over the wine bottle.
Oops, that could be bad.
Don't worry, I've got
It
it.
usually happens a little later in the year. Sammy's already hit it hard today.
That is so
yeah.
not true.
All right, so this happens, and they decide we got to take her to the hospital because who else can tend to her? And then at the hospital, there's not much they can do. But we also see Dennis is completely overwhelmed by this
Yeah.
and somewhat inept, and more than anything, we realized that May's running the show.
May
over there.
runs
Right.
the show. I
Yeah.
wasn't certain Dennis was the husband. I was like, is he just the baby daddy? Like,
Yeah,
what,
exactly.
Did that,
'Cause she says,
yeah.
they're only going to tell the next of kin,
And
I
I'm
told
the
them I
next
did.
of kin.
And that's why I was
Okay.
confused.
Yeah, I was too, because I'm going, well, are they married?
I was like, are they married? Was he
Right.
just a side
Yeah,
piece?
exactly.
What's happening? But y'all
And-
got 3 kids.
But you also from the yeah, that's true.
Nowadays.
But don't you think, for the way when we met Marjorie in the beginning, that that if she wasn't incoherent or unable to speak, I should say, she would be going up
Against her
Mama.
mom.
She
Yeah.
clearly calls her a cow and
Yeah.
the whole thing. But poor Dennis has
Dennis has
no
nothing.
ability to do that.
He has
so this
no
is
spine.
yes. So this would be his opportunity to step forward. So, but he doesn't, obviously, in the beginning. He just wants to speak to somebody but can't, and doesn't even know how, doesn't know what
And
to
then
do.
he collapses into a chair.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. But then the storyline continues with Dr. Turner being involved, saying, hey, look, I found some place for her, occupational therapy, all this other stuff. Or is that...
No,
do
that
we
comes
have
a little bit later. So
later.
Yes,
first
thank
we
you.
have to talk about about her May
Right.
talking about Lucy not being being a foreigner,
Right.
not being a
Being a
proper midwife. I heard
Yes.
she was
She
a
was a librarian.
librarian.
Yes, like that would be a
Goodness.
bad thing, yeah.
Well,
But I love that
multiple
Val
careers.
gave the full CV in front of everybody. Again, that's why I liked it being in the salon, because how many times we had everybody listening in on everybody's
course.
business, and then we used it to our advantage to some degree, but I like
Right.
that.
Right. And
yes.
Val had the credibility because
Sure.
she was a
East
local.
End.
She was
Yeah.
a local, exactly.
Yeah, and so she had the credibility of all those people sitting there,
Yeah.
as well as all of the parties involved.
Right.
And so I thought that was really,
It was, but
very well
and
done.
it was
Yeah.
great that she did it in front of everybody. But of course, May, when she overhears everybody gossiping later
Yes.
about how it was
It's
May's
her
fault,
May's
that
fault.
Marjorie, this happened to Marjorie, because how could it happen to somebody so young? And of course, since she overhears this, and we actually had who was there? Was it Violet? Violet was there, wasn't he?
yeah, Violet
Violet
was
was
in the
in the
salon.
salon.
Yes, yeah.
So she was there too, so she knows all this.
Mrs. Buckle.
Yes.
Buckle.
But May, of course, the horror, the embarrassment, the guilt, the shame, whatever it is that's all going through her about that is overwhelming. So then she decides,
it
let's
to
take
the
it on the road.
clinic. Take it to the clinic. Let's
Yeah.
get some milk
Take our
tickets
show on the road.
Exactly.
and tell everybody.
Right, so they're going to tell me they're going to tell my little salon, I'm going to go to clinic and tell everybody there.
Right, and she
Guess
was very
what?
like, I'm not even finished
Yeah.
yet, right? And everyone's
So
looking at her,
rude.
and
And then it was the term, the filthy hands.
yeah, get your
Yes.
hands off of my
My
of my
baby.
grandchild.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then she did, not only do I not want Lucy there, I don't want anybody
Anybody.
there. So it's clearly
She's a
scorched
cow.
earth process,
yes,
process.
exactly.
process.
A lot
Yeah.
of pain going
Heifer.
on there. There, yeah, heifer coming back again.
a heifer.
All right, and then we continue with that. Is that when we go? We finally decide that no, because Lucy has a discussion. She finds out from Phyllis
Yes.
that Phyllis and Sister Julian have decided to take her
Discuss.
Yes.
off.
We're gonna take you off
reassign
this
her.
To
case.
spare her.
Yes, yeah, to spare her.
Yes.
Which, you know,
Again, I love how every single conversation in this process was
Yeah.
done with kindness, because it wasn't we're taking you off because
can't
we
handle
blame
it.
you, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
handle it.
yeah.
It was, we don't want you to go through this.
Right.
We don't want you to be the subject of the scorn
Sure.
and all that kind of stuff, which was a valid point, I thought.
yeah,
However,
absolutely. But I like the turn. I like this with-
Lucy's
Yeah, I like
point was
that
much better.
because you might have seen those storylines before, but I liked her positioning Lucy in a different place, which is, hey, it's not your place to decide for me what I can endure,
deal with.
and because we don't know Lucy's past, we don't know what she's been able to do. We don't know her yet, and she's trying to say the same thing.
Well, and it will look as though Mrs. Stanton's slurs are justified.
Exactly, and
Which is
or that
completely
you might
not
believe in
cool
them.
by anyone.
Exactly.
So you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing pleases a person that's being attacked in that way more than to have to force the attacker to deal with them and continue to show them, like, guess what? You're so wrong and you're stupid.
And you're stupid.
And you're stupid. Congratulations, Call The Midwife.
Not just stupid.
Excellent job.
But a stupid cow.
Stupid cow.
Exactly.
No offense to cows.
No, of
Stupid
course not.
cow with bad hair because everybody else's hair was kind of cute and yours wasn't so great.
I didn't notice that part. Okay.
Her bangs were a little too short.
Too short.
Is that right?
Yep, they were.
Wow.
Even for the
Yeah, they were.
60s, okay? It was a
Yes,
little
they
too
were.
short.
See, so thankful that you
Yep.
guys know these things because I
Make a note of that,
had
Chuck.
Make a
not noticed that. And
This
now
is
I
why
have to
we're
go back
here,
and
John.
look at it
You're
and
gonna have
go,
to look at it and be like,
okay, yeah, they're right. Look, yeah. I can see the dimension, the proportionality is all
a little
wrong.
off, honey.
Yeah.
Your bouffant was a little high.
But again, then we go back to the parallel scene where this time Lucy's coming, and instead of Val saying everything in front of the gossipers and the yentas, because they also use the term, because in the earlier scenes, May said, I heard rumors, and talked badly about Lucy. Now Lucy comes in and says, I've heard rumors, because she said, it's not your fault, it's not my fault. And May says, well, I never said it was. And she said, and that's when Lucy says, well, I've heard rumors. So we still get that whole rumor mill going on there. And then again, she uses it to her advantage, because I like the way she confronts her and the way she does. She could have dressed her down all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
But she did
Kill
it.
him
It is
Kindness.
not. It
That's
is
right.
not the Call the Midwife way to do
I
that.
know,
Nope.
exactly. And
No, it is not.
Yeah, and but it made the turn much easier for May, because she did get to at some point
Save face.
Save face.
Yeah, let's maybe now it's time to set the record
Yeah.
straight, or the rumors straight.
Right, exactly. And I was waiting for somebody to go.
You mean yours?
And look at all the exactly. Look at all the gossipers. Hello, huh? Pass that on, will you?
Anybody want to raise their hand?
So, but you know, she, even though she turned a little bit, you know, she still had difficulty with it, which was, you know, the way you would expect it. Meaning May. But she did, you know, the little olive branch about you know, who does your hair. And I'm going.
Talk about mom.
Yeah, that was actually a little nice little moment there,
really
because the
sweet.
way she was talking about her
was.
mom, I was going, oh, that's right, you know, because we don't know her story yet.
Nope.
So it was good to hear that, and that is kind of right there. It's like, all right, you're getting close. I didn't. No tears, but I got close.
Got close, real
Exactly.
close. The whole kitchen table plate in your hair.
Exactly.
That's something
Both
we've all
sides.
done.
Yeah, I thought that was incredibly sweet. And also, just to go back to Val in that scene, talking about how she was from the East End, and I'm ashamed that one of mine would speak that way to you. So she was apologizing on behalf of the community.
Sure.
Again, you know, creating unity as well as.
Well, and it's a callback to what we were saying last week, or what they were saying last week. Well, what happens if something goes awry or somebody does something wrong? Then we all have to do something. And this, for me, was the example for what others might do in the real world right now. Maybe, you know,
Think about it.
possibility that, you know.
The visual that really spoke to me in this was when the ambulance came to take Marjorie away.
Right.
And sort of all those ladies were standing out there, and Lucy and Val were standing there, and they grabbed hands, clasped hands, you know, standing there in their uniform, realizing this is, again, one of those difficulties of the profession that they've come in.
Sure.
And strong women, if we can band together, we can get through the hardest of hardships.
We have and we always do.
Thank you.
And we're just here for eye candy. So. Well, if you take this particular episode, we're pretty inept men. We couldn't do anything.
Much.
Dennis couldn't do much.
What's
Mr.
your
Romaine was like,
purpose?
well, you know.
But then you step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Exactly.
Right. So Dennis, okay, first of all, can we just talk a little bit about his face?
He's so cute.
He
He's
was
adorable.
Cartoon character.
Very.
That's exactly what I said. He looked like he looked a little like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but he looked kind of like Beetle Bailey is what came to me, the cartoon.
Wow, sure, okay.
You know, with just those, he had very, you know, big exaggerated eyes, kind of that perfect little, what they would call a button nose, you know?
I thought of Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh, okay, sure.
why
Yeah,
I
he
did.
looked like a cartoon character. And with that face, you got to be a little careful with your expressions.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the scene that you liked so much? Was it the one where he was saying, "I'm your husband"?
Well, he
and
finally talked to May and said,
I'll
hey,
be
look,
here
this
because
outfit
I'm
here.
her husband.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
And he handed her, was it her nightgown
pajamas
or whatever?
yeah,
it was
nightgown,
like, get her out of there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get her out.
Because I was so upset when she was like, I'll be in here. I'll take care of everything.
exactly.
I'm like, wait, is that her husband that? Like, I was so confused. I'm like, she just put you on the couch, like, and you're fine with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, it's a mother and a husband. I can see both sides of that.
Yeah, it was
argument.
1963 too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want him changing her diaper and that kind of thing, so I get it. But still, he just went with it. He wasn't like
exactly.
But then redeemed
But
himself.
that was that character. They chose that for that character because he just seemed hapless. He had no idea what the hell was going on,
Right.
and I don't know how to do it. And I loved this. He was afraid of doing anything because he couldn't do it right.
Yeah,
Exactly. He's going to get his head bitten off.
And you got to see why. I mean,
With a cow of a mother-in-law.
He wasn't wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where were we on those? Oh, did we?
Occupational therapy.
Yeah, because Dr. Turner finds some place for her.
Yeah.
What was the other one thing going back to when Val was apologizing?
Yes.
And just that she felt like she should and stuff. We got the backstory
of her in
and
the
the army
army.
and stuff because we didn't know that.
Right. Oh, right. The
Yeah.
moment where she held the soldier's hand
Right. Yeah.
overnight. I said, "I'll
And
be
I
your
thought
mom."
there was a good because we've all had understanding of being bullied or in some way being left out or being the other. So I thought that was a good connection to make.
Yeah.
Because then that was in her experience and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that was
and then also the one very specific thing that Lucy said was that people were afraid that the black would rub off on their skin,
yeah. Yeah.
and just the
I don't know
ignorance,
how
the
many times
pain.
that's happened.
I mean,
Yeah.
most times you think you want
Oh,
it.
look.
That's what the sun is about.
All right, I'll take it.
So
But yeah, I mean, I thought this was an interesting way to approach the racism storyline
Yes.
because it was one of those ones that was kind of subtle in certain ways. They weren't exactly saying the words.
yeah, they just use all the coded words.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Boat,
using
all
the
that
coding.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yes, and because I was curious how they were going to tackle it based on
Yeah.
the tone of Call the Midwife, and like you said, even when you're talking about when
Yeah.
she confronts May and says everything, like she could have read her for filth and she didn't. Like, how are they going to make this happen and not make it
Something we've seen before.
something that is
Cringeworthy?
almost insulting to what it actually would
Right.
exist, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So it was still an honest portrayal, and it still is gut wrenching and made me uncomfortable and all of that. But it also was able to maintain what Call the Midwife
Right.
kindness,
Yeah,
love,
yeah,
sensitivity
they're-
is. So they didn't gloss over it.
No,
but yeah,
they are toiling on a lot of plates. in this,
yeah,
so.
they can spin a lot.
Yes,
man.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
and we finally get to the occupational therapy thing. We see the environment that
It was hard.
It was harsh.
I mean, I
wasn't
was
it?
mad. I mean, May, we're all like, give her
Yeah.
a chance, like, take
Yeah.
it. But at the same time, as May, like, I
Yeah.
would be like, I don't want my daughter with these old people and,
Yeah.
like, feeling like that is kind of bleak also. So
I know,
get
and
it.
you do because also she was talking about how before when she's at I think it was at the clinic where she says my daughter should be changing her baby's nappy.
Yes.
I'm changing hers, and the whole tragedy of that, and then you see what she has to go through because she has to run upstairs to make sure his daughter's
She's
taken care of
turned
while
before-
she's taking care of everybody, and
Yeah.
she doesn't think the son can do anything. And,
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
and
a
so
lot to deal
yeah,
with.
it's a lot to deal with.
a
So we
lot.
do get to see some of that. Doesn't really excuse the manner in which she does it,
Not
but you
at
do
all.
understand it. And I don't want my daughter here, and that's it. I'm out, and everything like that. But that does make it more satisfying when Lucy goes to Dennis and says, "Hey, look."
Be a man.
Exactly.
Man up. Please.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I was thinking of last week when they said midwives, we take care of everything. That's what
Yeah,
we do.
I was thinking the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
because I was like, yeah, they even go in there
Yeah.
and here
And
here, your
give
testicles.
Gave
give a
him a
dressing down
backbone.
right, exactly. Here are your testicles when you need them.
Exactly. And I thought that was the thing that he did a really good job on. I thought that was written well, and it was well within his character to say it and be awkward about it, but be definitive enough where May got it and everything like that, and the handing the pajamas or whatever bedclothes, whatever the hell it was. So that was good to see. And then we also got the tableau at the end, so we got the nice bookend because when they're looking in the mirror together, and even the way he's talking to May, he says, "You, Marjorie, the kids." And you
Right, and then
using-
there was like a
Yeah.
tiny minor hesitation. It was like, "What about me?" And he goes, "And you." I was
we are
like,
gonna get through this
phew.
together.
because how else
we
could you?
all-
You
exactly.
couldn't unless
No.
it was with
No,
the
you
pain.
couldn't.
Yeah,
You couldn't.
ridiculous.
because that is life in Poplar in 1963.
Now, the one other thing I really wanted to make sure that we talk about is the moment between Lucy and Monica Joan when they're talking about this.
With the
Marjorie, yeah, but prior to that, poor Marjorie, is this what she's left to? She has to be stuck in these four walls, and
what
right.
cannot be changed has to be
must
endured.
be endured. Yeah, and again, it's Monica Joan, the way she's saying it, it's like all the gravitas and everything with it. And then she's talking about, is that what you really believe? And as I was a younger girl, maybe not, but now with the age and experience, hope is dim. That I'm just going,
hope is dim, guys.
Yeah,
we keep getting old.
I have some conversation to talk about that in news.
All right,
so we'll get to that. Couple of things. So that then. Lucy saying, well, shall I read to you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Monica Joan, well, if you're lonely, I could keep you company. I loved that. Yeah. I loved that.
And I just like how it looked. Like Monica Joan was sort of like soft and in the darker sort of color.
Yes.
And then we have Lucy here in her bright, she was like wearing fuchsia or something.
What was
it?
it?
It was fuchsia.
It was just something like lively, and she's just beautiful. She's like, but sweet and young, and like just the juxtaposition of the bleak hope, but then the
hopeless
hope, and it was too much. And the image of it, just even without the words, was beautiful and remarkable. They
that's a
composed
great.
things wonderfully.
I don't know how far they're going to go with that relationship, but I love the two of them. I loved them in the first time they met, where they were bonding over the books and then not bonding over the Dewey Decimal System. I thought that was great. So I hope they keep that going. That seems to be very. I don't know. It's just very fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, so. And then the final scene with them involving the dinner.
Because Valerie invited some friends over to, I guess,
teach them how to make some Jamaican food.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And so they shared it.
But my favorite was when they showed the thing and they pan up and you see Sister Monica Joan's face. She's horrified.
Now, what is she horrified?
Well, I don't know. Think? Well, I think because
is it too much?
No, I think it's she's not used to these desserts or whatever they were. She she likes her desserts and everything, but she's familiar with this. To me, it looks like what I don't know these. Yeah, exactly. I don't I don't even know if they were desserts. She said
I don't know, plantains.
Plantains. Sister Winifred said cream puff. I think there was a
dumpling. There was a dumpling.
So I don't know what it was, but I just know that Monica Joan.
She was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And there's saffron involved. I could tell that.
And I'm sure it smells like, it definitely doesn't smell like English food.
Exactly.
Right.
The look was priceless.
There are spices beyond salt and pepper.
Oh my gosh.
Just priceless. Yeah. It was like, I had to watch it again. I enjoyed it so much.
But I wanted to eat.
So good. Yeah, well, there's that.
So,
definitely wanted to eat.
But that was also a nice callback, too, because when Valley had, prior to her apologizing, she said, we missed you last night. She was talking to Lucy, we missed you last night. We needed a librarian because we were playing Scrabble, that whole thing.
Oh, right.
She said she had a headache, and who knows why she didn't participate. That maybe she did have a headache. But here we do get to see them actually be together. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yes, it was.
It was.
Anything else on that?
No, I'm exhausted.
I just wanted Jamaican beef patty.
I just wanted some fried plantains and vanilla ice cream. What do you got next, John?
I want to go to Winifred because the Winifred and the whole
Winifred.
So we got to see the Muppets, but, and the
I don't understand.
What did she call them?
I don't even know what
iced buns.
Iced buns.
Iced buns.
I don't.
Okay, that was first of all just hilarious.
Yeah,
it was so ridiculous.
It was. I was like, is she making?
Wool crafts are the refuge of a dull mind. Being a crafter myself, I would just like to take umbrage with that statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought that
and
was
that they
better.
go rolling down the street
and bump into Sergeant Wolf, of
sees
course.
them,
Yeah, exactly.
The police constable sees them.
And Sister Winifred, she's playing with
She's
him.
got.
I can't believe they actually did the here. Take a look at my melons. Take a look at my iced buns.
Yeah,
It was hilarious, but it surprised me.
I just kept saying, "Is this real life? Did they come up with this in the writers' room? Like, did they have an example? Like, they used to use the sock puppet and do that. Like, where did this come from?"
Louise Ironside wrote this one, so I don't know.
Oh
I don't know
my
if it's right or
god!
not, but, so I thought the actual ice bun or whatever, I was like
the boobies.
The boobies,
boobies.
with a very vibrant areola. It was quite, I thought, okay, all right, fine, we'll go there.
I mean, they are vibrant.
That's true. But then when she actually made the sock puppet, it has wants to go up and around and everything. I'm going, which is fine, because that's what you have to teach people. We have a friend who's a lactation
Who is a
consultant,
lactation
so
consultant,
I
that's
certainly know
right.
all about it and everything like
Yep.
that. It's just that, it was weird when you see a nun do it and things like that. So
And sitting there with it.
Yeah.
And it just was really awkward.
yeah, I'm going, okay, what's going to happen the next time you come back to the storyline? Because where else are you going to go with that? Okay, but anyway, that leads us to the Romaines.
Yes.
Right.
The husband and wife. Because Mrs. Romaine is bragging about her
He's
hubby.
perfect.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
And
Every
again,
way.
now this to me was just like the salon. I thought they were parallel scenes. We have the gossiping going on in the salon, and here's all the kibitzing going on here with the ladies.
Right.
And one of them being, oh yes.
Right. So condescending and superior.
Yeah.
So much so that I need a little more wine. How about you?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, look.
We still
yeah.
got 18 minutes.
Exactly. So we get Mrs. Romaine decides to brag about her husband, and now once she does, of course, she has to raise the stakes.
She raises the
Of
stakes.
course. Because her
But-
manly man husband is a soccer coach,
but it
also
gets-
known as football.
Yes, exactly. But so it gives Winifred the idea that she's going to suggest the whole idea. Let's have men come into
Men come to a class. They should be able to help take care of their babies.
Sure.
Mothercraft. I guess is what it's
Mothercraft
called. Thank you,
classes.
Mothercraft.
Right.
And I like the discussion in the Nana's house when all the ladies are around. We get to
Yeah.
decide, it's a good idea, it's a bad idea. And Sister Julian, do you think she turned to Monica Jones to include her because of what we've, the things, the
I think both.
challenges?
I think
Yeah.
absolutely
both.
both. She definitely wanted to include her, make her feel important and valid. So validating her, but then also, she would probably have good insight based on the fact that she's been a midwife since episode one. People.
1895.
That's,
But
let's
she
see.
still had great insight.
if I
She
do
made
my
the
math
wonderful
right.
comments.
Yeah,
She should be dead at this. She had that comment about Lot and
Yeah.
One
Lot
must
is-
not be like Lot's wife, frozen in the act of looking backward. I
want that on my wall.
Life lesson,
Like,
right?
I want it on my wall. I was like, who are you people? You
I
come
know.
up with this dialogue.
I'm
It is
totally.
amazing.
I'm putting that in my journal.
Yes.
I totally agree. I thought that was incredible.
It was, but I put it in yesterday, so I can't look back at it.
Okay.
But
All
again,
I want
that's
is
Louise
I want a
Armstrong.
Garibaldi cookie. Can someone tell me what that is, or a Garibaldi
Garibaldi
biscuit?
biscuit.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
don't know
also
what
that's
that
when Mrs. Romaine first came in to the clinic, and
Yep.
Phyllis was saying you've lost some weight because she and her husband
Stressed
are
out,
had
they
falling
fighting.
out, so she hasn't eaten, and so
And Phyllis, I'm going to close the doors behind me, and we're going to talk.
Yeah. And she had a nice line about, your father is not there to guide his child through a
Through the
birth canal,
but
through life.
So,
Loved it.
They're so smart. They're just so
Seriously,
smart.
can we just have
Yeah.
a midwife
I
on
just want a
call?
midwife. Like,
Yeah.
talk
For
to
life
me.
lessons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't make it today. Yes, you can.
yeah.
And here's why. I'm going to give you a little
Exactly.
nugget of wisdom.
That should be part of their, part of their universe called the midwife. Universe,
Yeah.
they should have a 1-800 call the midwife, so you can just call and ask for
Yeah,
help.
they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Nugget of
They need it
wisdom.
online.
Yeah,
That should be part of it.
totally.
So Mrs. Romaine decides that she's gonna. I should say Winifred says, "Yeah, we'll have the men come there." And he's the only man,
that
the only
shows up.
husband, father to show up. And Mrs. Romaine decides to take it even farther.
She's like, you gonna watch
He'll
it come
come
out.
to the birth? Sure, of course he will.
Don't
and
you
just
wanna
the look
see
on
your
his face, like,
child?
whoa,
I
wait a
didn't want to
minute.
go. I don't want to
Time
miss the
out.
game.
Exactly. He does all this backpedaling
Yeah.
afterwards.
I'm gonna miss the game.
And again, the
honey.
way
I
they
can't do
compose
that.
the shot, the two of them in the foreground talking about it in the background, we have the two women. Yeah.
Like, he ain't nothing, just like ours ain't nothing. And I didn't say nothing. I said shh. On the inside.
On the inside.
And
But
then
then
they have the big argument. And he
Yes.
says no. And then, of course, he's getting ready for his game with his guy.
big game with the
We even
guys.
had the doing for the big Gipper scene. And then the labor happens, and then we literally have a delivery van.
Yep.
So,
came up with that himself.
oh,
Even though our secret agent just sent me that joke.
was that right?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Wow, that's good. I'm in good company.
You are.
So,
I know.
so-
She's clever.
Exactly. And of course, we've had Winifred ask to borrow a vehicle once,
Twice.
and then of course the third time
The
she
time she
doesn't ask. She
steals
sees a
it.
case, he steals
steals
it.
the car.
Exactly.
She's taking the car.
None on the run, stealing the car.
None on the run.
That's right.
Indeed.
And of course, we get stuck by the other car. They can't move. The brakes are locked. and everything.
Car's blocking the street.
Yeah.
She just leaves the keys and
Just
the car.
leaves it in there. It's like, okay, yeah.
All right,
leave the
girl.
kids there. But gets there just in time.
Yep.
And that, what was the I think you like the moment when she gets there and she's, oh, you're doing really well. Do you have anything to wrap the baby in? And he says, yeah.
Yeah,
those are
there's rags
She's
up
like,
front.
You can go.
Can
do
maybe
that.
you go get them because I'm going to do the midwife
I'm
thing.
gonna catch
Rag
the
catcher boy.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a mess. But I think my favorite part is
Yes.
you want to cut the cord.
No, but before that, how he's coaching her.
Oh,
Come
that's
on!
true. That's true. Yeah,
You
exactly.
can do
It's
it.
like, I think she
We've
knows
almost
what to
made
do
it to the
now.
finish line.
I would kill my husband. I literally would.
I loved
Well,
it. I thought it was
he's only been to one class.
I would have punched
okay?
him in the throat. Like, shut up.
Would you like to cut the cord, though?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Precious.
Yeah, and she knows instantly. She says, yeah, put your head between your knees.
You're gonna die.
But I thought even his little storyline about, the fact that he's the oldest of 6 and they all were
yeah.
born at home. And it's, and
I heard
I-
the screams and through
yeah,
the thin walls.
and if you're the oldest and the first one comes, I don't know how old you are. What are you, 2, 3, 4? Who knows how old you are when the first one happens? I mean, I can't imagine the trauma of that because it doesn't sound like a picnic.
no,
No.
it sounds like someone is dying.
Oh, like
it's
somebody's
horrible.
dying.
Yeah,
And it
So-
looks like somebody's dying too.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
let's
seen
be
it.
honest. I have
So,
too. It's gnarly.
Yeah,
Gross.
so and whenever it had that line about what scares us in the present is often from the past or whatever. it
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
yeah.
right? So, anyway, so that was a nice. I'm glad they took the time to do that because otherwise he's just a guy that's not, can't be there for his wife. It's like,
and
really, you
all
want
of
to go
that.
that? That's
Yeah.
I don't want
Again,
that. Exactly.
He stepped up to the plate.
He
Yeah.
did too, with a nice sports metaphor.
Yes, of course.
He is a coach.
He is a coach.
Yes, he is. I loved that. I thought it was really
Oh,
clever
the part, yeah, when
and
he
funny.
starts, when he starts coaching.
Yeah. You can do it.
It worked perfectly.
It was great. It was what he knew.
Yeah, exactly.
It was what he knew.
Yeah.
We're running low on time. We need
Oh,
to
we better get going. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the Magda ha.
Magda's a
Magdalena or
hottie.
Magda hubba 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 or Magda hottie. I don't know how to
She's some
Hottie.
hot
Yeah.
Hungarian goulash is what she
yeah.
is.
Apparently, he can be also indecent.
But I love the picture, the stern-looking picture and stuff.
It was the
Yeah.
same face because I
Oh,
watched
sure,
it twice,
sure.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
serious.
But she's from a communist country. So.
Yeah, and she got to loosen up. She was
Yeah.
in England now.
Wow, because she did look.
put her
whoa,
arms out.
She'd been to a salon or two, and I don't think May's.
no.
When she shows up.
No.
Bump a cardigan.
Exactly, and I loved all the little lines, like
She was great.
Your home is very pleasing, and so is
Says
your
your
husband.
husband.
We have this. What was this? What kind of conversation? Very intriguing or interesting
Intriguing.
conversations.
Yes.
It was a
Which
nice.
was so refreshing.
Yes.
Because you're really boring,
Yeah.
honey.
And then there was a little coffee incident. with,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Your coffee beats the stuff beats the stuff I'm used to.
And she was like, I make you coffee every day.
Exactly.
Because I like medical men.
Yes, because my father was one. And then she even makes spicy eggs. Again, literally spicing up their life.
Spicing up the
Yeah.
life.
Because all the boring stuff they eat before that.
Spicing up
And I
Timothy's
just going,
life.
when is Sheila going to go, all right, all right.
And then she does.
Well, yeah, but it's still.
Sort of.
Yeah, she does, but it's about the Timothy, because obviously Timothy is just nuts. and
He's
smitten.
Yeah,
He's-
exactly.
Puberty. Hey,
Yeah.
pretty ladies.
Yeah, and I love the little jam thing. Oh, jeez. I'll take the bag. Yeah.
How old is Timothy now? He's
High school?
16?
Yeah.
17 maybe?
16, I'd say. At least
I would say
16.
Yeah.
16, yeah.
Because he's practically in university.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, he had
exactly,
to
all
let
that
her
stuff.
know that. Girl, it's almost
Oh,
legal.
yeah. And talking about how groovy, he prefers groovy,
Groovy Luxembourg.
music.
Instead of the boring BBC, he was like Groovy Luxembourg or whatever it was.
Probably the first time he's used that. Groovy.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
And he's there
right.
now. He's peeling potatoes. He's washing dishes.
Washing
and
dishes.
cleaning windows.
Do it, Timothy.
Yeah, it's like, all right, tone it
Yeah.
down. Play it cool.
All right, I got a little joke for you
All
from
right,
our
go ahead.
secret agent, Magda, the Hungarian. She's less an au pair, more of a ho pair.
Oh, there you go.
Whoa, pair.
Oh, ouch.
Nice one.
And
And we're calling it Coco Van Gate.
Oh, yeah. If you like that kind of thing.
If you like that kind of thing. Okay, on a serious note,
Oh, yes.
I'm hoping that now the Turners, their storylines have sort of turned toward the campy.
Yes.
Well, they actually
most
were
like
camping.
literally
Yeah.
camping.
Yeah.
And
How
that
many
was
times have we said literally in this business?
but I'm
No,
sorry,
you're right,
but
you're
it's
right.
true.
No, it's not your fault. It's mine. I said it like 4 times.
I blame you.
Thank you.
but they're, you know, they sort of play it for laughs.
Yeah.
And
sometimes.
if you'll remember, the way Sheila and Patrick got together was incredibly touching and
Right.
incredibly heart-wrenching
Well,
because
they
there
also
was
had
thalidomide.
thank you, thalidomide.
Thalidomide thing. No, but I mean like way
Late-
back,
yeah,
them
yeah.
getting together.
Sure.
So, I mean, I understand them wanting to create humor,
It-
but
yeah.
but sometimes their storyline, especially like them moving to the new house and
Mm-hmm.
you know the sort of it sort of edges on silliness for me sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and the seriousness of puppy love, young, you know,
mean
young
the
adult
heartbreak
love,
of it,
the- and
yeah.
the,
Yeah.
right, exactly, the heartbreak of it.
Yeah.
I hope they really go there with this season because Timothy is going to take this very seriously. Magda, you know, if they do continue the storyline, is going to break his heart, and I think it's a real opportunity for some of the awesome tears that we all love so much. From Call The Midwife.
That's true.
Poor Timothy.
Poor Timothy. And it has to be Timothy
Right.
because they've kind of gotten their fairy tale. And now I sort of look at them, like you said, like I look at them to see the weirdness of all the green in the house and like
turquoise,
Yeah, the turquoise, yeah.
turquoise and
Yeah.
all of that. So I'm not really looking at them and their relationship for the meat of anything anymore.
Yeah.
So it would
Yeah.
be nice if Timothy had his little moment because the last time he
So
had a
you don't
moment
think
was the polio thing and
Right,
that was like
yes.
his
Right.
serious. And now that he's sort of coming of age, I feel like that would be the next phase for their
Because I
family.
have to be honest, I don't love the silliness that has infiltrated Call the Midwife from the Turners.
Okay.
It just feels slightly out of tone for me. I don't mean to be critical.
Yeah.
It just feel, but I am. I know I am.
Address
But
them
I-
all to Tamara Burr.
But I know, right to me directly. I think that I love the humor. I think there's opportunity for humor. I just feel like this particular the particular way it's going. It's just not. It's not my most desired taste for humor.
So let
That's
me
all
ask you
I'm
this
trying
then.
to
So
say.
despite,
Help me, John.
despite,
Save me.
No, despite Dr. Turner's protestations to the contrary, you don't think that there's going to be any jealousy issue with him and Dr. Turner and Magda. You don't think that's
I
a
don't.
possibility. You don't think they'll
I
do
don't.
that. You don't think they'll go there.
I don't. Courtney.
I would like them to go there, but I think they're gonna stick with Timothy. Like I don't.
You
know
would
if
like
they
them
would.
together because it's more painful.
I think just because it's more challenging, and I'd
Yeah.
like to see it. If I were writing it, I'd like to see the jealousy come because also the son sees that Magda is more like. Not necessarily into the father, just
Right.
because, but I would like to see that father-son sort
Yeah.
of
Competition,
conflict, even
yeah.
if it's completely not Dr. Turner trying to
Yep.
do it.
But-
Like,
but, yeah, Magda might have.
that somehow works
that.
with it and let Sheila sort of work
So
in that
some
kind
sort of love
way.
triangle with
So
Dr.
sort
Turner
of.
not really
Sort of.
participating.
And
but
maybe he's like completely not aware because I feel like he's not aware of most things. But
Uh,
other than being
Timothy,
a
do you
doctor.
mean, or- oh,
no,
Dr.
Dr.
Turner.
Turner. but
Yeah.
but I do still enjoy the lightheartedness, like when he was telling Sheila she had a tone, and when Sheila's talking about telling the girl to put on a cardigan, like those little side comments I enjoy thoroughly because
Not
that's
on the
like that's a
continent.
real quiet shade that
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of the Dowager from
Right.
Yeah,
Downton
Downton Abbey.
Abbey. So
Yes.
I appreciate it, but I get what you're
All
saying
right,
too.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah. We're both right.
Yeah,
Because we're
exactly.
always right.
Because we are.
Well, I'm sure they'll handle it definitely just as they handle this episode and these
Yeah.
particular
Yes.
subject matters. So hopefully we'll see some fun and get some depth out of that.
Yeah.
For
All
sure.
right, we got to, speaking of depth, let's go to Trixie.
Trixie. Whose
reading
hair
the
is
home-
always on point.
Right.
Yes.
Her home management book.
Yeah, I thought that was again. This is going back to that storyline. We're all trying to be the better self.
cute.
And all this stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, the dust on. Nobody's read this book. I don't know if it was hers or it was in the library, whatever it is, but nobody's read
Another thing from 1895.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When Monica Joan was starting out.
Exactly.
it. Yeah. So she's reading it though, but very, seriously, or at least
Yes,
we think,
she's
wants
taking
to
it
be a
very
good
seriously.
yeah,
Absolutely.
You know, because and Dr. Chris has decided that he wants to have another
More-
chance to get away.
Some more
Another
alone
chance.
time, if you know what I mean. Nudge,
And
nudge,
so
wink,
she's
wink.
gotta-
Doop, doop,
and they, obviously, she invites him over. He thinks they're gonna go out, and then she's.
Like, no, honey,
I
I,
don't know.
cooked for you.
I don't know what that was. Is that a common dish?
That's
or
what I
appetizer?
asked. Roasting up your grapefruits.
Yeah, on the grill I think is what she used.
You we should put it under the broiler.
Ah,
It's
okay.
my dad taught me that.
Oh, is that right?
When I was a kid. Yeah, it's like it's bruleeing
Yeah,
basically
okay.
your
Is it always done with a grapefruit, or is it?
Yeah.
it
Well,
is.
I mean,
Okay.
in this,
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
Because the sweetness offsets the bitter and like that. I don't know. But anyway, she didn't do it right.
It looked tasty though.
It
didn't
looked
Yeah.
delicious. I was so, but I also wondered, was that the whole meal?
Yeah,
Like, we
it
were
was-
just
it
gonna
was
eat
very-
grapefruit.
yeah.
No? Like, can we get some chicken or like?
Yeah, that was
That
weird.
was my question.
Especially because it's still probably late winter, early spring at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
Why
the
are we
grapefruit
eating
coming from?
grapefruit?
Well,
Jamaica, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's-
We came on the boat, guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But of course, and he says it doesn't matter. We
I love you anyway.
jam toast, whatever it is.
Oh,
But
And Alexandra loves you.
Yeah.
And
But then she did have her nice little monologue, sort of about how her heart was so broken and she never would see herself
Yes.
anywhere, and
Yes.
like now, and funny how life changes.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
I did too.
Because
I thought there was a nice counterpoint to what Phyllis said, which is it can change in a minute.
In a
'Cause
minute,
She's talking
exactly.
about Marjorie, and then we get to see, it can, because it always does.
For the
Thought it was
better or
great.
So
worse.
it also sets up. So what is going to happen to them?
all good. till you
Because they're
stroke out.
again they're on the trajectory of hey, everything's
Everything's great.
Right, and we saw the
Alexander
coming
loves
ups.
you. Yes,
all good till somebody strokes
He
out.
loves spending time.
Okay, can I do some news really
Yes,
quick?
go ahead, news.
I know we only have like a minute for me to do this.
Sound effects.
Creator Heidi Thomas rejects the idea that the cast of Call the Midwife is getting too old, but she admitted she's enjoying taking the characters to new places. One thing I'm enjoying is that I've crafted the storyline for Judy Parfit, who plays Sister Monica Joan, over the body of the series, failing eyesight, and the opportunity to explore the intricacies of aging.
Right.
I love writing for her. She never disappoints. Heidi Thomas also insisted that none of the main cast will die soon.
Okay, but what does that mean about?
I mean,
I just
The
want to be
other
clear
cast.
about
none
that.
of the main cast.
But the character's health will take a dramatic knock. So just letting you know, even though we said she might die, she's probably not going to die.
She'll just be in a coma. and
Helen
nobody
George,
can
who
talk to her.
played Trixie, had to resort to special measures to cover up her baby bump when shooting. She said she was very pregnant with her daughter, Ren Ivy, during the production. She said, I did the Christmas special and the first 4 episodes, but after that I was too big. I was always carrying things or sitting behind a high desk to conceal my bump. My face and boobs were getting bigger and bigger. It was ridiculous. And if you go back and watch, you can see there are always things in front of her. Okay, just quickly, we talked about the fact that Jennifer Worth's memoirs were the basis for
Right.
Call the Midwife, but it never would have existed without real-life midwife Terry Coates, who is coming up on her 43rd year with the National Health System. Wow. So she wrote a rant that went in the Midwives Journal that was 8,000 words. It got cut down to 1,500 words. It went other places. My conclusion was that somebody out there could put midwives in a good light and show and tell the public what they actually did. She got a manuscript from Jennifer Worth, and that became Called the Midwife, the books. Terry Coates is still the consultant on births on Call the Midwife.
Awesome.
So anyway, there's more info about that. Finally, check my Twitter feed to see our own Courtney Stewart in the new Amazon
Yes,
Chad
that was
video.
awesome.
You can find it on my feed at Tamara Berg, also hers,
Yeah.
Stuart Starlet, and some quick shout outs. Hey, Lee Ferguson, Helena Huang, Ilse Loca, Marilee Ortega, JOK394, Aurelia Ansa, and Special Agent in the UK. And if you're listening, please comment on iTunes for us. It really helps us out if you do.
We love you.
Thank you,
Right.
you guys. We appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Well, I guess that wraps up.
kind
this
of
particular
does.
episode of
So
this after
too.
show. It was very pleasure being. Tell them again where they can find you.
I'm all over the stuffs at Stuart Starlet.
Tamara Berg on Twitter, Tamara A. Berg on Instagram, you guys.
John at nowhere.
Yeah, Home Depot.
Just here
That's
next
right.
Monday.
Oh, that's right. We'll see you
4
next Monday.
o'clock.
Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye, you guys. Thanks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. Cup of tea with Brandy.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.